What is money? Where does it come from? How is it created? And whose interests does it serve? For centuries, the monetary system has been hidden from public view, yet it underpins both national politics and global power. Today, as crises shake the foundations of this order, we must ask, what is the future of money? The need for an open and honest dialogue has never been greater. In 2010, only about 3% of the money in circulation in the UK existed as notes and coins. The other 97% was created digitally by commercial banks. Government-issued cash provides a profit known as seigniorage. For example, printing a £10 note costs just a few pence, but it is sold to banks at full value. The profit goes directly to the treasury. Yet the vast power of creating digital money lies in the hands of banks, shaping the balance of the economy itself. Banks are not just intermediaries, they actually create money. When a loan is issued, banks don't hand out pre-existing funds. Instead, they generate a new deposit entry. This reveals the core truth of the system. Every pound of money is also a pound of debt. Over time, this mechanism expands debt and traps households under the burden of interest. The poorest are hit the hardest, while repayments flow back into the financial sector. At its core, the system transfers wealth from the poor to the rich. Rising house prices create an illusion of wealth. As homeowners believe their properties are worth more, they feel richer. But this does not come from real production. It comes from cheap credit supplied by banks. In the United States, during the 1990s, interest rates were cut close to zero, triggering a massive mortgage bubble. The short-term effect was a surge in consumption, but in the long run, it led to falling incomes and the concentration of wealth in a few financial hubs. History offers powerful lessons. In the 17th century, the Netherlands survived against much larger empires like Spain and Portugal. The secret lay in financial innovation. Public lotteries, mass participation, and the first stock systems allowed capital to be raised quickly. This enabled the Dutch to compete with rivals who had far greater armies. The lesson is clear. When money is directed wisely, even small economies can rise to global prominence. Inflation is not just about random price increases. The true cause lies in money supply expanding faster than real production. If money flows only into productive investments, new businesses, infrastructure, services, inflationary pressure is reduced. Throughout history, many central banks regulated credit flows by sector, restricting speculative investments. In East Asia, this approach became the foundation of their rapid economic growth. An economy that seems to grow does not necessarily improve people's lives. In the United Kingdom, for instance, middle-class real incomes have been declining over the past decade. People work harder, yet struggle to make ends meet. A debt-fueled system keeps families increasingly dependent on credit. The money created by banks drives up housing prices and consumption rather than real production. The outcome? More debt, lower living standards. The cost of financial crises always falls on the same group: ordinary people. When banks face collapse, governments step in and use taxpayers' money for bailouts. Risk is socialized, while profits remain with the financial sector. After the 2008 crisis, the money spent to rescue UK banks exceeded the cost of sending humans to the moon several times over. Meanwhile, schools closed, public services were cut, and inequality deepened. The panic of the 2008 crisis was not confined to a single country. Within hours, hundreds of billions of dollars were withdrawn, pushing the global economy to the brink of collapse. The international monetary system is so interconnected that panic in one nation instantly spreads to others. Reserve money is nothing more than a digital transfer between banks. Countries with trade surpluses accumulate reserves, while deficit nations burn through theirs. If these imbalances are not corrected, the domino effect can hit the entire world. Countries like the United Kingdom have run persistent trade deficits for decades, buying far more than they sell. This deficit is most visible in tangible goods: cars, computers, manufactured products. As the gap grows, the nation becomes increasingly dependent on borrowing and foreign capital. Economists often recall the post-World War II idea of an international clearing union. Had such a system been implemented, no country would have been able to destabilize the global economy with endless deficits or surpluses.
What is the easiest way to reduce trade imbalances? Lower the value of your currency. This is called competitive devaluation, or more simply, a currency war. When a currency loses value, exports become cheaper, while imports grow more expensive, stimulating domestic production. The problem is that if one nation devalues, others soon follow. The result is a destabilizing race where everyone tries to out-devalue each other. From Brazil to Europe, many countries joined this invisible battlefield in the 2000s. To lower the value of a national currency, central banks do something simple. They sell their own money on the market. No gold mine or physical reserve is needed, just a few keystrokes on a computer. In this way, central banks can create money out of nothing with the push of a button. That is why reserve currency is effectively unlimited. But unlimited does not mean worthless. On the contrary, when created excessively, it destabilizes entire economies. Once upon a time, money derived its value from the metal it contained, gold, silver, or copper. Later came state-issued banknotes. For decades, each note was backed by a fixed amount of gold. This was known as the gold standard, a system that kept exchange rates relatively stable. But in the modern era, money is no longer tied to gold. It is tied to the credibility of governments. The banknote in your hand is nothing more than a promise, a commitment, and that promise can be multiplied without limit. Today, money is no longer a substance dug from the ground. It is a number appearing on a computer screen.